Warning! We are about to spoil Inferno from 1980. If you haven't seen the movie and you plan on watching it, leave now and come back later. But if you have seen it or you just don't care, then please stick around.
Oh my goodness. A big, scary hole where I can't see the bottom and it's filled with water? I'm going in!
We can kill the Did she actually go in the hole? It's like a 5-foot hole. Why would anyone climb into it? It's full of water.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Cinema Roulette. We're here and yeah, you know it. It's another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. You heard me.
I did, yeah.
Now.
That is definitely an intro to an episode.
It is. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Kind of like the plot of this movie.
I mean, the plot makes sense. There's a beginning, middle, and end. This is definitely a movie of all time.
It is. Any more preamble, or should we just get right into it?
I tried thinking of a joke. I got nothing.
All right. Well, hey, that's all right, because today we're bringing you back to Dario Argento with his 1980 movie, Inferno.
These secrets. Those so-called mothers are actually wicked stepmothers, incapable of creating life.
You know what else is good? The silence.
You know it. Oh, it's always there, always watching.
Or listening, whichever.
Yeah. But yes, Inferno, back on the director's wheel, and this is one that replaced some other ones on the movie, but that's okay. It was one Justin was very interested in seeing, so we watched it.
That we did.
Yeah. And my thoughts about it are about the same as when I first watched. Just, it's all right.
At least it didn't get worse.
No, it didn't. Still a better movie than Bird with Crystal Plumage, honestly. I know, controversial opinion.
Yeah. It's weird that's controversial. I don't know.
We just do the podcast,
This
guys.
episode's going to be in a mood, huh?
I guess so.
Before we nitpick this towering inferno apart, there is my attempt at humor. I hope you're all having a good time. Hold on.
Okay. Are you not quite ready yet?
Yeah, hold on. The people inside of my brain are quickly flipping switches to be in the proper mode. Give it a sec. Okay.
And we're back.
I keep grabbing shit around me that will make noise, which is not helpful when there's a microphone.
We can have the rave afterwards, Justin. Now we need to do the episode.
Okay. Let's get to the summary, which, if it sounds very loose on details, yeah, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
So we open in New York in April. Why is this specified? Good question. But we open with narration talking about the three mothers. Three mothers are three witches. One of size, one of darkness, and what was the third one?
Darkness. Oh, goodness. Give me a sec. Mother of Tears.
Mother of Tears. And we already knew of one of these witches. That's what Susperia was about.
Yep. Mother. Matrum Suspiriorum.
Is that just a retroactive way to give a reason for the name of the movie?
I think so, yes.
Good job. Yet oddly, one of the witches is like named Tenebraeum and is not part of Tenebrae.
And this was made before Tenebrae, so...
Either way, there are three witches, and the Witch of Shadows or Darkness is in New York. And we see a woman who we will later know as Rose reading the book on the three mothers, and it's like, Huh. This sounds a lot like the building I live in that's in New York. So she goes outside to the bookstore or outside of her by lighting apartment complex.
There's a lot of it in this movie, and it's gorgeous.
It's even on the poster.
Yeah.
But goes and talks to the bookkeeper and is like, "Hey, this book sounds real. You know anything else about it?" "No, it's just silly stories. Just go home." But the book said one of the main keys to figure out more about the witches is in the basement where they will keep it basically on an effigy to themselves.
Yeah.
And Rose sees a little door that leads to the basement of the building. So, why not take a look? So we go in the by basement of the by building.
Yeah.
Welcome to the early Pride Month episode. Actually, funnily enough, the actual Pride Month episode is also pre-art house.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later. While she's looking through the basement, she finds a hole that's maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet wide, full of water. So obviously we gotta dive in there.
Mm-hmm.
Stagnant water under a building in New York City, probably so much fun to swim in.
Yeah. All that still water, so much bacteria.
It's so fun. But she goes under there, she sees a witch's altar. Also, a dead body pops out because someone definitely watched Jaws.
Yeah.
She nabs a key, gets on out of there, hears voices coming into the basement, runs and hides. Then we go to Rome, also during April. You would think with witches that the April would be like the sign of a ceremony or some type of spell casting. No, it's never brought up. It's just we keep being told it's April.
Yeah. It's not the solstice or anything. It just happens to be April, and not even a specific day. It literally says just in April.
Yep, in April. We do see a calendar layer that said April 30th.
Yeah.
So we're at the tail end of April. And this episode is coming out in April. So I don't know. Brand synergy.
Yeah.
But we go into a music class in a college with Mark. And Mark is in class sitting next to a woman named, hold on. Mark is sitting in class next to a woman who will later find out is named Sarah, and also a woman down below him, because one of those college classrooms where each desk is higher up than the last. Looks down at her, and she's just sitting there not doing the lesson because everyone has like headphones on to hear the music, and she's petting her cat. Totally not a witch. Anyway,
Yeah.
Mark got a letter from Rose because he's the brother. Unless I said that already. Man, this is definitely a mood of an episode.
It's all right, man.
See, this movie's dreamlike, and I feel half asleep. Not because of the movie, just general. Either way, Mark reads someone and then goes, I should probably focus on this test. Class finishes up, cat lady disappears, Mark goes to leave, and Sarah sees, he left the letter behind, and she reads the letter and learns about the 3 mothers. So she goes to some library in Rome and finds the book of the 3 mothers. That's useful. Again, just this book left in a public library.
We'll get to that.
We will. But as Sarah is looking at the book, all of a sudden, library is closed. It is time to leave. And this library is kind of a confusing layout. And also everyone who was in the library disappears by the time she turns around. Huh. She goes in the basement and finds the boiler room. Not literally the boiler room, but there's just a bunch of pots boiling shit.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a man there, and she's like, hey, where's the exit? And the man's like, it's just back around the corner. But the man notices she has the book of the 3 mothers and goes, hey, wait a minute. Get over here. I think she wasn't supposed to check it out. That was also another thing. Yeah. So that's why she's being somewhat sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
But the man tries to attack her. Luckily, she runs home. And while she's taking an elevator up to her apartment, she meets another tenant in the elevator. Is like, "Hey, can you just come home with me? I don't feel safe right now." Sarah goes home, talks more about the books, also calls over Mark like, "Hey, I got that letter from your sister. Can you just come here right now?" The other tenant with Sarah is named Carlo, and the lights start to flicker after this phone call, and she's like, "Oh, that's fucking terrifying." Carlo's like, "I'll just go check your fuse box. It's probably fine."
Yeah.
"Keep talking to me so I know you're okay." So Carlo immediately stops talking and goes down the hallway. But he says, "Yeah, I fixed it. You just come here." Sarah goes, "Oh, thank God." Goes down to where the fuse box is, and Carlo has a knife in his neck. Well, that sucks. And then the killer appears, the yellow killer with black gloves and a black cloak, and kills Sarah.
Oh my.
Mark Mark finally arrives, finds Sarah dead, and when going outside and talking to police, sees not the witch driving by. He calls up his sister, and his sister's like, "Yo, can you come to New York?" Mark says, "Yeah, I'll head right over," because this was the 80s, and you could just hop on a plane and go to New York without having to care about finances.
Yeah, finances or just time. You can probably just walk in and having to be frisked.
Yeah. Well, also, sure, he probably has class tomorrow, but this is movie logic, so you
Yeah.
can just take a plane and it's like 4 hours.
We're taking a quick detour to New York.
I was thinking more of Fringe, the episode where they go down to
Oh, yeah.
Georgia, go back up to DC, and back to what was it, Harvard they were under?
Yeah. What's traffic?
They go back to what's traffic? Also, they do all that before the afternoon in one day.
Yeah. Bullshit.
It's okay. They were in a minivan.
Yep.
Tangents aside, Rose gets windowed and she's gone.
Yep.
Mark gets to Rose's apartment, but doesn't see anything. He hasn't noticed any blood. She's just not there. And is like, she must be out. Okay.
All right.
He also meets her, Rose's neighbor, Elise, played by Dario Argento's wife at the time. Which means she's gonna make it through this movie. Elise also notices some blood on her feet because she was walking around barefoot, and then goes and tells Mark, and is like, "Oh shit, there is blood outside." Elise decides to follow this a bit herself and ends up getting cat attacked and killed. We also see that bookkeeper from earlier, and turns out like cats keep breaking into his bookshop, and he keeps telling the hotel people like, "Hey, keep your cats in check." He does.
I'm sorry.
He does. He does find another cat in his office, and then puts it in a sack of other kittens, and then goes to drown them.
Yeah, kind of a piece of shit.
Luckily, witch stuff happens. He falls over into the pond himself and is attacked by rats before some food truck guy who's just out in the middle of the night walks over and stabbles him in the neck.
Yeah, he literally runs across the lake.
Which, yes, obviously it was probably the witch doing some cursed thing to cause all this. But I also like to think that this truck driver just realized, this dude's drowning cats. Fuck him.
Yeah. What if the witches just granted him like temporary water walking powers just so we could kill him? They sense his rage and they're like, wow, this would be a really easy way to get this guy out of our hair.
No, I thought he was running on like the side bank of the lake or something.
At one point, he does actually walk across the water. It's hard to see.
Yeah, it is
I know
dark
that
film in the.
Yeah, because they actually filmed that in Central Park with a plexiglass thing under the water so he could run across it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
There are also other people in the hotel, and as more and more people are dying off, we see the butler of, hold on, just our name, Elise. Elise's butler and the lady who runs the front desk are basically planning just to rob Elise's apartment because her husband hardly ever shows up to the place. However, doing this, the butler gets killed, and then the front desk lady, when coming to see him, sees the lights around in the apartment, notices a candelabra, and then takes one candle and lights it, holding the hot wax in her own hand.
Brilliant. Oh, don't worry. This is only the start of the inanity.
She walks through the dark calling for the butler before finding his corpse, and his eyes are gouged out. It's honestly a pretty cool effect.
Yeah.
Which, this scares her, so she tosses the candle by accident. It lights up a curtain. Now, the curtain's on fire. You don't want the hotel to burn down, so she goes over and starts to pat it with her hands. And then the curtain falls onto her. She bursts into flames and then falls out a window.
Just offs herself.
I really have to wonder if the all-powerful Witch of Darkness did that or was just kind of watching and went, huh. Either way, this whole time Mark has been just kind of trying to figure out where his sister might be or where everyone keeps disappearing to. Finds some notes from his sister, and she talks about a hole or like the key is right beneath his feet. And then he finds a part of the apartment with a hollow. No, he sees a bunch of ants coming out of the floor, sprays them down, but then realizes, oh, it's actually super deep under there. Like it's open.
Yeah.
Tears up the floorboard, starts going through some weird hidden tunnels and passages while the loudest opera plays. And then he runs into another tenant who we saw earlier, who is this old man who had a nun/nurse pushing him around. And the old man admits he is actually the author of the Three Mothers book. Then he tries to drug Mark for some reason, and Mark knocks him over because he's just a really old dude in a wheelchair, and they just spills the beans of, yeah, I built this place. I helped these witches, and they cursed me. They trapped me. They kept me here prisoner. And Mark's just like, okay. Why'd you try to drug me? Anyway. Ooh, secret door. And then Mark goes in the secret door, leaving this old man on the ground.
Well, initially he was choking on the little voice thing he had, then he unhooked him and let him finish.
Oh, yeah, Mark... Before he could be needled, Mark started strangling him because the guy had, like, one of those...
It was like a voice...
The thing you would see for smokers, voice box.
Yeah, like it has a vibration, so it vibrates your trachea and allows you to say words. But he had like a cord that was going to a speaker, and he knocked him over, and the cord started choking him. But Mark decided not to just let an old man choke to death.
But still leave him on the floor.
Yeah.
Of this building you now know is full of murderers.
Yep. Well, he just tried to drug him, so...
Fair enough. Maybe it was the good shit. We never really get an explanation of why he tried to drug Mark.
Yeah, you don't know if it's like knockout juice or something else. Like, we don't know what he gave him. It's never really explained.
But Mark finds a secret door and then runs into the Witch of Shadow. And she gives her villain monologue, talking about how she is more powerful than he can ever understand. And then disappears, but is in a mirror and still keeps monologuing, and then turns into a spooky skeleton.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
And the place starts to catch fire, and then Mark runs out, seeing that the old man died. He's like burst into flames. He's fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Mark runs through something that looks dangerous because it probably was.
Oh, yeah. I'll have some more information about that later.
He gets outside, the fire department and cops are there. We see spooky skeleton shadow lady burning in the hotel. The fire overtakes the place. The end.
Yep, another Argento movie that just ends, which I like in a lot of other Argento movies, but yeah, that was Inferno.
That was Inferno.
If it sounded a little disconnected and nonsensical, that's just because the actual movie kind of is.
The,
It's where do we begin with this?
I think I just want to start with the main thing of this is an art house film, and there's a lot of things working against it.
Yeah, it tries to go for a more surreal, like art house type of vibe, which works in some areas, but it overall as a whole just doesn't really, it isn't cohesive.
Yeah, I think because the opening, especially when Rose is in the basement, and we're joking about why the fuck would you jump into that hole, but that does feel very dream logic, dreamlike. The whole underwater part is like this submerged ballroom.
Yeah,
It it's a really cool visual. Even when she's in the basement, the lighting makes it almost look like the matte paintings of old Scooby-Doo cartoons type deal.
yeah, where they have like the background, it adds like this texture to it that almost makes it look artificial. It's really cool.
Yeah, the opening is really good. It's just I think both one, the music, even though it's good, it would be a solid horror movie soundtrack,
Yeah.
doesn't work very well for what it's going for here.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing because he had worked with Goblin for his last two films, which I think were Deep Red and Suspiria. But for this one, he actually went with Keith Emerson, who is known as the keyboardist for prog rock band Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. And just a moment. Yeah, he said he chose him to compose the soundtrack because he wanted a different sort of score, a more delicate one, is what he said. But like coming out right after Suspiria, I think like the score was compared pretty unfavorably. And besides just being compared to like Suspiria and Tenebrae, which happened to come out between it, it's just there are some scenes where the music works, but there's a lot where it just feels almost disconnected, or it doesn't really fit the vibe of what the scene is going for.
Yeah, like a main example I can think of is when during Rose's death scene or her being attacked, it's
Yeah.
playing very fast, like she's supposed to be panic running through the halls, but she's more just slowly walking, kind of creeping around.
Yeah, it feels like there was like way less attention to detail of where the music would go than in the other films we've seen from him.
Yeah. Or when hold on. Yes, Mark. When Mark is exploring around the tunnels, it's playing this super loud, dramatic opera that's
Yeah.
singing about the three mothers, and again, Mark's just kind of waddling around in tunnels.
Yeah, he's not going fast. There's not like anything exciting happening. It's a great song. It just needed to be used in a much better scene. Not to mention that bombastic of a song, you kind of threw out any atmosphere you had going for it. It's so bombastic.
Yeah, that's that's the main issue with it is for this more art house feel and the dream logic of it, you want to be able to sink yourself into the atmosphere, but the music is a constant wake up call pulling you away from it. Not to mention, this movie doesn't really have a main character till a little after the halfway point.
Yeah, because the character we think we're following gets axed off. So obviously we introduce Mark before her, but then it's Mark and her sister, and then Daria Nicoldi, whose character's name I forget, and yeah, it's just odd how there's no one main character. It's just like the main character. You're right, like you said. As soon as Mark gets to the apartment, he's the main character.
Even then, not really, because we still kind of jump around to I keep forgetting her name too, and I've said it multiple times. Elise. But before that, we had Rose. We jump over to Rome, and then we think Sarah's going to be the main character. She dies. We follow Mark a bit. We go back to Rose. Rose dies. Then we just kind of get introduced to everyone in the hotel.
Yeah. It just feels like there's not as much thought put into the characters and their development. Like, it's just an. What was I going to say? Hold on. It's just an odd thing because I think that's one of the things that hinders this movie too is we don't have a central character. We don't have an anchor through all this strangeness. Like, you know, in those other movies, we do have a main character who we follow. But here it's like, who's the main character? Who's going to get killed off? Which, if that's the idea you were going for, they're not well developed enough to do that, you know?
Yeah. I mainly think of David Lynch when thinking of dreamlike movies, because that was his whole thing.
Oh yeah, he was like the master of that basically. And in scenes, this does feel very Lynchian.
Yeah, but like for Blue Velvet, we have a main character. We are with them through thick and thin. Here, since we jump around so much, you never get the ability to relax with and fall into the atmosphere, basically.
Yeah, like it almost feels like like I know like it's more like surreal and the characters aren't really the point, but there definitely need to be more there. Like I know for it to work better, I feel.
I'd also say, even though I love camp, I enjoy the campy aspects of this movie, it doesn't work for what it's going for.
Yeah, it goes almost a little too campy in spots. Like like you said, the reveal of death is awesome, but it's just really campy.
It's still a really silly skeleton costume.
Yeah, it's cool and all, but yeah, like it just kind of like, again, I think tone and like the script are the two biggest issues of the movie. Because I mean, in a positive, the cinematography is stunning as always from Argento. From a technical standpoint, it's great.
Yeah. Oh, the sets look lovely. It still has that sort of weird maze-like feel
Yeah.
that the dance studio of Susperia had.
Yep.
It's just all the other aspects are kind of are holding it back from being as good as it could be.
Yeah, exactly. Like, which is interesting because it's like I feel like I should be more mad at this movie, but I'm kind of not. It's like there are issues, but it's still like I can't say bad movie, not recommend it. Like it's odd.
I think it's because, one, it doesn't drag.
Yeah.
There's not a moment where it's like, God, this scene is going on too long for no fucking reason.
Yeah, I think you're right. It does move along at a really nice pace. Has it?
And even if it's not working as art house, it's still fun.
Yeah, it's still fun, even if it's like making fun of it in a lot of areas. It's still fun. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of overall like a weaker Argento movie. But yeah, it was the direct sequel to Suspiria, which is interesting. It was going to be the Three Mothers trilogy, but after this didn't too well, I guess they decided to abandon that and go back to Giallo with Tenebrae. And it wasn't until like 2007, I think, when the final Mother of Tears came out to not much critical acclaim.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember what happened exactly in this scene of where we got the wind POV.
It was weird. The initial introduction with Mark and his sister and the little witch, and we were thinking that like, because like they're discussing in class, all of a sudden the window flies open and the camera goes in, and you're thinking like something is flying at them, like a batch or something magical. No, and then it just cuts to them, and it's windy, and nothing else is mentioned of that. So we literally got a wind POV, which was just weird. And what was that criticism? That's actually a really good one to bring up, which I kind of do agree with. Yeah, it was something about like the camera work, but yeah, it says it fails mainly because it lacks restraint in setting up the terrifying moment, using close-ups and fancy camera angles gratuitously with no relevance to the story.
I agree and disagree.
That's the thing, yeah, because like it works, it's very stylized, that's kind of his thing, but yeah, I guess the point they were trying to say is there was less thought behind like the camera angles. The only one I really noticed was the one with her mouth where it just zooms way in on the mouth when she's talking, and like it was weird.
Oh yeah. I think what it is Argento's own style works against the movie he's wanting to make here.
Yeah, exactly. Like it almost like wasn't really the movie for him.
Like his style is very flashy, in your face, crazy camera movements, which for a slow, dreamlike horror movie is not what you need.
Yeah, exactly. Like it almost feels like, yeah, like this just shouldn't have been Argento. Like it's just an interesting experiment, I think, that like he just kind of didn't care for. And I'm glad that like he kind of didn't really go back to it, because it kind of overall doesn't work, but it's definitely a movie I still respect.
Yeah, it's still at least him trying something new, which that's fine. Sometimes that doesn't fucking work.
Exactly. It's always worth it. You don't know until you try it, you know?
It's not like it killed his career or anything. He still did fine. He did Tenebrae, which we have covered, and it's available on all podcasting apps and YouTube.
Yay! I was waiting for it.
Yay! Shameless plugging. Uh, also, this one is more of a nitpick, and it's you wouldn't have a movie type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd think these witches who don't want to be looked into or found out would destroy every copy of this fucking book, especially one that's right next to their building.
Yeah. This book seems to be available anywhere, because not only do we see one in, like, the Coven itself in the basement, there is also one in the library, and there is also one in the book next door, and eventually the guy, like, puts 3 copies of it on his shelf. I'm like, at least the witches in Susperia were smart and did everything underground and didn't really say anything in front of people. Like, here, nah, just walk next door to the bookstore. All the information about every outpost of our secret society's right there. It's fine.
I completely forgot that the bookstore owner had like 3 more copies of this goddamn
Remember, he puts it on the shelf? Yeah. It's hilarious.
You think as an omnipresent witch, you would,
Yeah.
fix that?
But no. There's just a lot of real leaps in logic for the villains and their motivations.
But then again, it's supposed to be dreamlike, so I'm not too pissed about it.
Yeah, I think that's why overall we're just not, I will tell you who didn't like this movie, though. or at least didn't like making it, Dario Argento.
Really? What was the issues?
Well, during the film's production, Argento became stricken with a severe case of hepatitis.
Oof.
And it became so bad, he had to direct some sequences while lying on his back. Yeah.
I know, I feel bad, but the idea of just this man I'm sure it's not even on the floor, but on the floor being like, do it again!
Yeah, one more take! At one point, the illness became so painful that he was hospitalized. Filming was then restricted to second unit work. Argento has since called Inferno one of his least favorite films of all his films, as his memories of the movie are tainted by his recollection of the horribly painful illness he suffered.
Yeah, that's fair, and maybe that could also be why things feel so disconnected from music and whatnot, is he just wanted to get the scene fucking done.
Pretty much, yeah. He was just suffering throughout most of it. Also, fun fact, fellow Giallo director Mario Bava, who was also his mentor, he invited him to provide some of the optical effects, matte paintings, and trick shots for the film. Some of the cityscape views seen in Inferno were actually tabletop skyscrapers built by Mario Bava out of milk cartons covered with photographs.
Damn, I didn't even notice.
I didn't either. It's fucking good. The apartment building Rose lived in was, in fact, only a partial set built in the studio. It was a few floors high and had to be visually augmented with a small sculpture constructed by Bava. This sculpture was then set aflame towards the end of production and served as the burning building scene in the climax. So it's cool that they kind of worked together for this, yeah. And also, the guy who played Mark, Leigh McCloskey, the film's fiery sequence was shot without a stunt performer filling in. After the production's principal photography had been completed, the film's producer, Claudio Argento, asked if McCloskey would be willing to perform the stunt work himself, as the stuntman hired for the job broke his leg.
Oh, what a great sign.
Yeah, the producer assured the actor, quote, "It'll be absolutely safe." The actor agreed, and when he walked onto set the following day, he observed, quote, 3 rows of plexiglass in front of everything, and everyone's wearing hard hats. I'm the only guy standing on the other side of all this.
Wow. We have confidence.
Yeah. He said, "Needless to say, I did it all on instinct. I still feel that blast of the door blowing by me. When they tell you in words, it's one thing, but when you feel that glass go flying past you with a sound like a Harrier jet, you never forget it."
Yeah?
Yeah. So, if that looked dangerous, it's because it really actually was.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
80s were stupid.
Honestly, though. Or in this case, the 70s still trying to die.
True. Yeah, the film was really... It still is unsafe. What am I talking
yeah.
about?
It's still unsafe, but not to the extent it was back then, thankfully.
True.
But yeah, I think overall that's about it, huh?
Yeah, there's not much here.
Yeah. Like, I knew this wouldn't be, like, as good of an episode just because there's not much content. Like, it has issues, but it's not by any means, like, infuriating or terrible. It's just kind of meh.
It's just kind of a fine time.
Yeah. If you're interested, I'd say definitely check it out, but, like, don't rush to see it. Like, if you're kind of eh.
Yeah, maybe it'd be fine as a background movie at a Halloween party type
Yeah,
deal.
for sure. I've had that before, yep.
Like, there isn't a heavy focus on plot going on. It's just kind of weird, freaky stuff happening
Yeah, you can
from time to time.
you can still have fun and bullshit around and still basically understand what's going on.
But before we're done, of course, we have to rate every movie we covered, as we always have, with the same rating system we've always used.
Of course.
So, Cameron, what color would you rate this movie?
Am I allowed to choose multiple colors or just a color?
You can choose multiple.
I thought so. I don't know. I just have to go with the obvious, the bicolors. Blue, purple, and pink. No reason. Just that's how I'm feeling.
I feel neon lime green. It's a color that doesn't fit in very often. It's still eye-catching. Also, still not something I would like to use often.
Yeah.
Anyway, however, that rain was totally edited in normal capacity. We need to get to the main gimmick of the show. Can we have some fanfare?
Yay!
Thank you. Please clap. But anyway, we are on the director's wheel, which the best way to summarize it is it's not as simple to summarize as the series wheel. But we have a bunch of directors still on here that we put, and we're going to spin the wheel, and then it's going to pick a movie from them. It's a pretty simple concept.
Yeah.
Either way, it is time to spin. Oh boy.
What we get?
Well, we're going back to Lynn Ramsey with Ratcatcher, which I think is her first feature-length film.
Oh, that'd be cool. Probably. Let's look that up real quick.
We could double check that fact, or we could save it for the episode. Who cares?
Why do you do? Yes.
Yay, I was right.
Good job.
Thanks. So we'll go from weird art house to depressing art house. That's
Pretty much.
fun.
Yeah. Love it.
I'm excited because all of Lynn Ramsey's movies so far have been great.
It's a lot.
Jeez, lady.
Anyway, yeah, bye.
There it goes.
Oh, and there she goes. Okay, that's it. Wow, it's actually gone. That was fast. It just wanted to get out of here.
I already stopped my recording. You said
Yes.